HayprO and Braddock are down to just this best of one on Daybreak. There we go. Got
Andre
it.
did bob his head
Got
down
it, Fred. I know. On Daybreak.
And the bottom left on Daybreak is Braddock from Team FXO. Pavel has been playing phenomenally in game number 2. And, you know, HayprO went for Roach Bane games 1 and 2. Braddock has to play a little bit safer at this point, but I want to also remind the people watching, Braddock went for a 3rd orbital command.
Bold.
While teching. He didn't have siege mode, and he held a Roach Bane bust. And we were saying, man, if he held this, that would just be like boss mode times 10.
I didn't think he was going to hold it there, dude.
I thought he was going to die, too. I was like, wow, he went for 3rd orbital.
I guess technically he did die, but he came back from the grave, man. I mean, the 3rd orbital definitely helps you out with getting back into the game, and I like the Hellions trying to do damage and obviously killing a ton of drones, but I think HayprO kind of misplayed that, and if he just didn't let those drones side, he would have been so far ahead, man. So far ahead.
In the top right corner, we have the red Zerg from Team Liquid. Hayter Hussein, I believe is his name. Yes.
Yep. And top right-hand side of Daybreak.
Hayter is going for a hatchery first. Pretty much what you do in ZVT, regardless of what happens. Now, Daybreak is an interesting map because you can do some very devastating proxy raxes. So HayprO electing not to scout early is a little bit risky. Some Zergs choose to send out their drones just to check, just to do a little cotton swab, if you will.
It's really important to do that, I think. 2 racks is just exceptionally good on this map, especially if you don't expect it. But I should say on any map, when it's a proxy 2 racks, I mean, you have to be so careful, as that can just devastate a 15 hatcher. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. That's like almost a build order win from that position. Just the amount of drones you have to pull off is just so severe. No matter what, I think Terrans can always get ahead if they go unscouted.
Yeah, always. So, you know, guys, if you're trying to, you know, fix the fact that maybe you died of proxies, always try to see if you can scout at least maybe the areas that you normally don't expect by the 3rd or by the ramps. You know, that's what we saw Rain and Alive doing, not last week but the week before. And just try to, you know, catch those spots, because you never know what your opponent's up to, and Terrans can be pretty sneaky early game. Now, Braddock is going for a 1-rack CC, so no actual form of proxy barracks, but Braddock also has a good information scout on his opponents. He's capable of going for just minerals at this point.
But not only that, just the fact that the metabolic boost has started, it gives room to have the potential for some sort of Roach Baneling Zergling all-in.
It's really early speed.
And
Zergs have been delaying it a lot.
Braddock has been seeing it time and time again. I mean, game 1 and game 2 both had Roach Zergling Baneling all-ins. He should prepare for it this game as well.
Just in case, but you can see Braddock opening very similar to game number 2, where he goes for that reactored Hellion. Now, last time we visited, Braddock also went for a 2nd factory and tried Infernal Pre-Igniter. Again, love the fact that he canceled it and tried to bring it up, and ooh.
Second factory. Okay. I mean, I guess if it worked game 2, it's going to work game 3, man.
Drop a 3rd orbital.
Yeah.
At this point. And we were actually, I was talking about that too, right? I was like, oh man, you know, he hasn't necessarily shown signs that he wanted to take a 3rd orbital, and then he did. So I was like, okay, wow. So, 3rd bases are a little bit harder to secure on this map though compared to Antigua.
Roach Warren.
And there's a Roach Warren.
Income tab, 30 harvesters. I bet you we see like 38 to 42. 2 gases. This gas is actually a lot earlier. No, it's not. I lied.
No, it was around the same timing because it was after the...
I lied. I called myself out on it, Fredin.
Okay. But Braddock has his 2 factories. He's going to start something from the tech lab very soon. Siege mode. And this time, Braddock adapts to what he's expecting. He's going to go for a safe play. No 3rd command center from Braddock. Very good job by our Russian Terran. And the cool thing... Oh, so do you want to point out something?
I was just going to say siege mode finishes by the time the Roaches actually walk over.
That's what... Oh, actually, that's exactly what I was about to say.
We're twins.
So, it would be very impossible, though, Andre, because we we are different ages. Now, I do want to say that that Braddock, the big thing that will also help him this time is his Sim City, if he can really protect this ramp, because Antigua kind of has this weird thing where you wrap around the side a lot, and you know, as a result, if you ever get siege mode out, it's going to take a lot of shots on the roaches to really to create like a disincentive from the push forward.
Yeah.
But Daybreak has a much more open natural compared to Antigua, so it's going to be a little bit trickier, especially since the siege tanks don't necessarily reach the very outer tops of the natural. So HayprO, there's no guarantee that it'll work, but there's no guarantee that Braddock will be able to defend completely either.
I think Braddock is at a point where he can't lose. 2 siege tanks on the high ground. What happens from here, he actually saw the siege tanks now. What happens from here is the siege tanks just focus on the banelings. The banelings are going to try to explode on here, but they have to go through another round of buildings. They won't be able to get up into the siege tanks. Now, one thing is that the siege tanks are kind of mispositioned, I would say. If you do get anything on that top. HayprO.
And 2 roaches dropped. But what were we talking about positioning?
Yeah, if you get any amount of sight on that top ramp, the roaches can just kill every single one of these tanks.
Yeah, that is true.
So I would actually say position some of these siege tanks backwards a little bit.
HayprO losing these roaches, but yeah, like, what can HayprO really do in this position? These Zerglings are dying. I mean, Braddock is so prepared. Now, I was talking about that one area where the tanks can't hit, and that's what I was expecting HayprO to really punish at this point. But what can really do? I mean, HayprO does have a lot of roaches and Zerglings still in production, but he really can't break this position. Yeah. All Braddock has to do is reposition the tank once. HayprO doesn't even have banelings. He was trying to just go for pure roach sling. And looks like HayprO is going to say, good job, Brad, and tap out. Braddock takes the series 2-1. And HayprO goes winless. And NASL dropping to 0-8. That is hard. That's a hard spoon to swallow. But, you know, we all know HayprO is better than that. You know, not 0-8. And I want to testify. I just want to testify that Braddock is great. Like, one of the best things for me watching games is watching a player recognize mistakes and then correct them.
Correct.
Not just in game 1 to 2 when Braddock was able to really hold off the Roach Bane Bust, but game 2 to 3, take his build and able to play safe. And from that point on, Braddock was able to really just cruise a victory. At that point, he could have just left. He's like Dragon. Just leave your keyboard and go AFK, and he would have been okay, because there's nothing HayprO could have done to break that.
I think HayprO should have actually switched up the play, mind gamed his opponent. Obviously, he's been showing roach circling. Just go macro style, get a quick third, and you're in a really good position after the initial maybe 7 roaches, because your opponent's still going to react the same way. So just do that, and you're in a great position. Unfortunately, HayprO went for that attack, and it looked silly, right? That was like the silliest attack ever, and it's because Braddock hard countered it. It wasn't a soft counter. It was a very hard counter. Getting siege mode that early in the game, it basically says, I cannot attack you. So I can Zergs can normally drone up into the 70-80 regions before they're worried about anything at all.
So that series is brought to you by Kingston HyperX. The people provide memory and SSD for NASL Season 3. Check them out at kingston.com. We'll be sure to mention that after the break. When we come back, our daily recap. We got lots of cool things, as well as announcements, and maybe even to let you know about what's going on in the open tournament. So keep your channels, your remotes, whatever you want have to your internet TV. Don't go anywhere. We have our daily recap for NASL Week 9 Division 1 coming up right after